Hello and welcome to a very special NGB Halloween feature. We're going to be looking at a game called Painkiller, Hell and Damnation. It's a scary, well not really a scary, it's a first-person shooter that involves fighting the forces of hell. Very appropriate for Halloween. It's actually released on Halloween for PC. A console version is coming for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 in January, I'm told. Now, this is a remake of the original Painkiller game, which admittedly I have not played myself, but I am told it is a like-for-like remake with regards to levels, weapons, and game mechanics. They've slightly tweaked the story. I understand the original story involves Daniel Garner, the protagonist who you see here on screen, driving the car. He ends up in a car crash with his wife. She goes to heaven, he ends up in hell, and he has to fight his way through hell to reach her. He gets screwed over by demons and hell's minions along the way, and he never gets there. So this time around, we see here death on screen is going to give him a second chance. So if we just skip through to the opening of the game, we can see we've come out of the pre-rendered cutscene and we're in the in-game cutscene. And basically, if you're wondering what Painkiller, Hell and Damnation is, it's basically an old-school first-person shooter. Think back to the Quake days. There's no health regen. You have to pick up items like ammo, armor, and little green orbs to heal yourself. And it's a very one-note game. The whole point of the game is they're going to throw loads of hell's minions at you, and you're going to have to blow their brains out. The things that really change in this game are the locations you're fighting in, the levels, the guns, and the enemies. Enemies get tougher. And this story bit here is death, basically saying you can rely on me. I'm going to help you out of here, but you got to kill 70,000 souls or something like that. And I believe the game is divided into 7 chapters, and you'll be fighting many minions as well as some boss characters as well, which have their own quirky mechanics. Okay, so this is the opening level of the game. You start off with 2 weapons. You have your double-barreled shotgun, which has 2 firing modes, and you have, I have no idea what this is called, but it's pretty cool. You can shoot this Ghostbusters-esque green beam, and it also has an ammo type, which flicks out these barbed wire saws, which are pretty cool for dismembering skeletons. So as I say, the game is from the Quake generation. There's no iron sights. Some guns can zoom in, but it's old school zooming in. It's not the iron sights of Call of Duty that you get these days. And this is basically it. There's going to be minions coming at you, hell's minions coming at you, and you have to be really quick to react. It's a game that you really want to play at 60 frames a second, and it really rewards skill because you can get headshots, and later on the enemies do get tougher. So as you can see, these green orbs, they give 1 health back at a time. Sometimes they spawn when you kill an enemy, and yeah, it's pretty good. The graphics in this game, not the best. It's using the Unreal 3 engine, but you know, it's a remake of a very old game, and you know, you can see the textures are pretty good if you don't go too close, but the game looks pretty good. These red checkpoints, these red beams are for checkpoints, so that they load you into the next zone, and as you can see, they shut off the last area. So it's almost like they're putting you into an arena for the next part of the battle. Now, if you hit these guys in the torso, they'll fly away, but nicely enough, if you get a headshot, they'll actually lose their heads, if I can actually get the headshot. It's a bit difficult with a shotgun that's bursting the fire out. There we go, you can see the nice headshots there. They come, and you can actually dismember different parts of the body depending where you hit. See, his legs went flying there, lower torso going. And it's a pretty nice game mechanically. When it's really at its best, it's when loads of enemies on screen coming at you from all sorts of angles with different mechanics. Some will throw axes at you, others are just melee targets. And here's an armor pickup, so you can see in the bottom left, my armor is improved. And that's pretty nice. Ammo on the floor here. So it's an old-fashioned first-person shooter, and it's actually very, very nice. It's very high-paced. As for the sound in this game, it tends to ramp up with some music when the action does get a bit intense. There are secret areas in the game which can unlock secret levels. They're not the easiest to find. They're not that obvious. You have to. It seems that you do have to actually go searching for them. And as you can see, once you've cleared out the enemies, the red checkpoint comes, and you can enter the next area. Now at the moment, I've only got 2 guns, but this game has many guns. They're normally strategically placed at the beginning of levels or just before boss fights to give you something new. And we have a different enemy type there. No idea what she's doing, but they do get more difficult later on. They have you have enemies with shields. You have enemies that will throw stuff at you. You have enemies that don't have heads or wear helmets, so you can't just one-shot them in the head. And it's pretty intense. Speaking of boss enemies, there are boss enemies in this game. They get harder. There's one here right now. This is sort of a mini boss, and we can see the enemies with the axe throwers as well. Now, Painkiller, Hell and Damnation is certainly in the FPS genre, but it's not your modern FPS that is defined by your modern combat shooters these days. It's not slow and methodical. It is very fast-paced. And you need a lot of twitch reaction. There are some moments where you get really overwhelmed, and every shot needs to count. Every shot needs to be a headshot, and it's really refreshing. Instead of methodically hot-footing from cover to cover, you are in the midst of the action. You've got some music blaring out of your speakers, and you're taking on the forces of hell. And here we go. Here's a new gun. It's pretty cool. It's got this mechanic. You don't want to do it into the barrels though, because they explode, but you can make mulch out of your opponents in melee range. So it's pretty imbalanced. It's also got this hook ability where you can, I don't know what I'm hooking off them there, but I'm taking something, it seems, and it's killing them in one hit. So it's a pretty powerful gun, but it's also really nice to get up and close and personal into melee action. So there you have it, Painkiller, Hell and Damnation, a really refreshing, old-school first-person shooter, and an ideal game to be playing this year during Halloween. Catch you next time.